I know how good I am. It's all about just opportunity right now. I mean, that's been ever since I left Chicago, and towards the end of Chicago. It's just been opportunity and just being prepared for those opportunities. So I think I'm there.
Bigger opportunity than you were expecting? Because last year you guys kind of burned out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, this is my third game back. Pushing myself every day, getting the most out of all my days, and I'm just trying to be patient. Like, I'm going to have good games, I'm going to have bad games. It's all about just being mindful of them and just understanding where I'm at. Like, I'm a perfectionist, my bad, but sometimes I'm impatient and I want success or results right away. And that could tend to mess with your mental. And for me, having all the injuries that I had, I tend to catch myself whenever I am thinking about the games, having bad games, or I have a few bad games in a row. Y'all getting out that slump and understanding what's the positives out of those games.
Can you do what you did last night with Dwayne's out there?
Yeah, I mean, we could work on it. It's all about just picking and choosing my spots. Like yesterday, they gave me the ball to push the ball. We was trying to push the pace, and I felt like I could play with anybody or any unit on this team with the way that I play. I facilitate. My job is to push the ball and just attack whenever I do have the chance. And I think I learned that over the year that the year that I had with New York.
Derrick, with everything you've been through physically, what have you learned about ways you can take care of your body so that you can be smarter about this now as you work your way back?
I mean, I would say it's the small things, hydrating. You think that a lot of people hydrate, or yesterday when Lou won it, was one of the reasons Lou got mad at me yesterday because I was in the bathroom. I didn't know that he wanted me to come back into the game, so it was just miscommunication. But the way I think about it, when I say little things, guys are out there for 2 hours straight playing basketball for 2 hours and nobody take a bathroom break. For real, just think about it. It blows my mind, bro. Like, whenever I come out the game, I go right to the restroom, hydrate, and I'm right back at it. But that's what I mean by just learning from my past and just trying to do anything or, anything just to stay on the court.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, man, I came a long way, but I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy that the biggest thing, I'm just happy that we got the win yesterday.
Tristan said last night when you're making jumpers, it's kind of like icing on the cake. But did you feel like that was kind of the perfect example of doing everything you can do?
Oh yeah, I mean, but it all takes time and rhythm. I told somebody here, that when you, like your whole life, you're used to a 1-2 rhythm, like a shooting rhythm. Your entire life, ever since you was a kid, elementary school, high school, college, you're used to a certain rhythm. And you have one knee injury that, you stop everything, you reset everything. And I have 4. So learning what's going to be my rhythm, learning what's going to be my shot, learning how I'm going to get into them shots when people are on me, learning how to shoot them when I'm wide open. Like, all those things that you took for granted, you're learning or I took for granted when I was younger, I'm learning all over again. And I think this ankle thing could be a blessing in disguise because it helped me along with my base. My base is very strong for my shots right now.
Does the bone spur still bother you?
I mean, it's there. I just know that this ankle is going to be a problem. That's not going to be a problem, but it's just something that is usage. You know what I mean? 10 years in, the work that I put in is just something that it's just going to be there, and it's only stiffness. I don't have any pain or anything like that. Just throw that out there so people would think it's a problem or something. There's no pain at all. It's just stiffness.
Did you wonder at all what your reception would be like when you came back?
No. To tell you the truth, I really didn't care. As long as my teammates had my back whenever I did come back, and they understood that I wasn't trying to be a distraction to the team. I just needed that time alone. So as long as my teammates and the staff and the franchise have my back, Everybody else and everything else really doesn't matter because we're the ones that's going to be in the heat of the moment together and we're in this battle together.
Well, that's what I meant with your teammates. Were you concerned at all about how they would receive you?
At first, but after I talked to him, I was only focusing on my rehab at the time. And that's the only thing I could focus on. Like, I'm not a bad guy, or I'm not a selfish dude, or a kid or anything. Like, I'm very poised, and I stay to myself sometimes.
So you feel like you don't have to regain their trust anymore? You kind of.
I mean, that's going to continue to grow throughout the year the more that I play. But as far as right now, the minutes that I'm getting, I'm just trying to be positive, push the guys, be a burst of energy out there, and let them know that I'm only here to win. I don't care about stats or anything like that. Like I did that in my younger days. I'm here to win the championship.
Overall, as a group, this is a team that has each other's back.
What, here?
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I've been on a lot of dysfunctional teams, man. A lot of people overlook that. I mean, I've been on a team that it took us the last game 82 to make the playoffs. And it took somebody losing that game for us to creep into the playoffs that Boston year. So I've been on a lot of dysfunctional teams. We're in third place right now, man. Like, come on, man. But I get it, the expectations, and with Bron and just this team and the franchise, I get it. But for me, my past helped me with just calming down my nerves and putting everything in understanding.
Worry about that too?
I just made a line of it. I was
That
just wondering
is
if you had
funny.
something. You could have had the personal legacy.
No. We won. I was happy. I was even in there with my kids for a while. So y'all the ones that took a long time. If y'all made a story about that, that is
No, we
sad.
made a story about it.
Oh, okay.
Just made a line about it.
That's
It
crazy.
just seemed, in fairness, it seemed San Antonio and last night, you got out pretty quick. That's
Y'all
all.
wanted to talk to me last night?
Yes.
Yeah.
We want to talk to
Okay.
you every time.
Y'all
Two-time All-Star.
Y'all gotta hurry up a little bit, especially when the kids is here. It's 10:30. But my bad. I apologize. I'll try to wait a little longer. My fault.
We were with Ty. We were with Ty. So as soon as we're done with Ty, we're
It's
done.
all good. My fault.
Another thing that we did make a big deal out of was Kevin and the way he handled the ball after that rebound last night. We know things aren't great between you guys. Is that kind of
Why aren't things great?
Well, you called him out on Monday.
What did I call him out for?
Missing practice and missing the game with the headaches.
To be real, I didn't call him out. I asked him why wasn't he at the game during the game supporting his teammate. And then after the game, I asked him I didn't ask him because he wasn't there, so I was seeing where he was. So I didn't call him out any. So those reports that whoever's saying that, there's no bad blood between me and Kevin Love. Like, we go back to 5th and 6th grade. I asked a question where he was, and it was never clarified. And that's all it was. So the rebound, did he say anything about the rebound?
He wasn't asked about it, but the optics were, he grabbed it and flipping it to you or bouncing it and handing it, and he bent over and kind of dropped it to you.
And he see I was smiling right after. Did you see that part? Okay then. Like, there's nothing between me and Kevin Love at all. I approached him about a situation, and it went out of house like it shouldn't have been, but it was nothing bigger than what the world was trying to make it, like some type of beef between me and him. It's never been that, and I've never been that guy to do that. So to clear all that false whatever everybody's writing up, because that's not cool at all.
From a bigger picture, we've gone over and over it with your hip, leaving that out. Do you feel like you are fitting here within the offense and the other stars? Do you feel like that is sort of the...
Not as well as I want to right now, but it's gonna take time. Like, I'm in a whole new situation. I'm used to having the ball every play. I'm used to making most of the plays. So I got to figure out, and this team has to figure out how we can use each other's strengths and use that as a positive. And it's gonna work out. It just takes some time. And I'm not back to who I am. So, like, I'm trying to figure out how to play with LeBron. I'm trying to figure out how to play with Kevin Love. At the same time, trying to get my rhythm back in real live action. So that's gonna take time. And I mean, I'm not panicking. I don't think anybody in this locker room is panicking, but the people outside this locker room, which is fine. They're entitled to their own opinion. But one thing about me, I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep grinding, and it will work. At the end of the day, it will work, and I'll figure out how to use my strengths with this team and vice versa.
We spoke to Derrick just before you were here. You've been on dysfunctional teams in the past. That's his word, not ours. What do you think Monday means, guys? Can you tell whether it's going to be a positive or negative at this point?
I mean, I don't know. It was just something that was brought up, and it was bigger than what it was. It's bigger than what we talked about on Monday. It's bigger than that. Like, we got to be a better defensive team. We got to not be stagnant on offensive in the fourth quarter. We got to do those type of things to be a better team overall. I don't think that talk had anything to make us better. There was questions that wasn't addressed.
Could it help with communication, though? You think?
For sure. I mean, on and off the floor. I think that's what the biggest problem was in that meeting that we had, was communication. And then on top of playing on the court, offensively and defensively, we got to communicate better. We got to have each other's back. We got to trust each other on both ends of the floor. And as you can tell, like, that trust is not there yet. And I mean, we have 8 new players on this team. It's January, and we still got a lot of time to try to figure it out. And I think at the end of the day, it's gonna work. But like I'm in a new system, a totally new player that came in the middle of January. A player that's supposed to be very impactful on this organization. Like, that's not gonna work overnight. I don't care who you are. And to the fact that everybody wants it to happen overnight, and those first 2 games was like, oh, they're gonna beat the Warriors, and then we're going on a 3-game losing streak. It's like Isaiah needs to get on the bench. That's disrespectful to the work that I put in. But I mean, you gotta eliminate that noise and keep pushing, and that's all I've ever done. And at the end of the day, I feel like we have a good chance of making this work, and we'll see what happens.
When you had your first 2 games back and you scored 17 and 19, everybody was very excited. And then you even said after a while, like, well, that was better than it should have been,
yeah.
right? So then, in your first 8 starts, you guys were outscored by 23 points for 100%. So would you say that it looked worse than you thought it would or should? Did it get worse than maybe it should have been? Or
I mean, we just wasn't playing well. Like, no matter what you lose by or no matter what it is, I think there were just 2 games that really stood out. And that was Minnesota and Toronto. And other than that, even that OKC game was not a good game for us. But other than that, like, the problems we have now are the problems we had in November on that night, 19 out of 20 wins. Like, we've been the lowest 5 defensive team in the NBA the whole time. So when I come back, why it's my fault now? Like, that's which life isn't fair, but that's not fair, bro, at all. And I just laugh at those things because I know in this circle, in this team, everybody believes in each other, and everybody's in here for it to work and for us to be playing in June, and that's the ultimate goal.
Is it fair to use the word dysfunction right now?
I don't think so. I think that meeting or whatever we had was blown out of proportion of what it really was. But, like, I mean, being on this team, you see anything that happens, it's a little blown up. And it is a little more than what it really is. And, I mean, that's just, I guess, being on a team with LeBron James, that's what happens. But every day is a new day, and I think for the most part we've been as positive as we can be with all the extra noise from the outside. And I know playing better and getting wins will quiet all that extra noise up, and that's our plan of attack.
You mentioned extra noise and stuff being blown out of proportion. Does that make what you guys are trying to accomplish even more difficult? That there's all this stuff that swirls around this team, drama, dysfunction, however you want to categorize it. Does that complicate for you guys as players what you're trying to accomplish?
I think it does a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, we're human. So people could be like, man, I don't see none of that. I don't worry about any of that. But like, you're human. You got friends, you got family, you could block all that out, and people are still gonna figure out a way to get that information to you. So I mean, it's definitely tough, but we're professional athletes. It comes with the business, and you just got to keep pushing. You got to somehow figure out to have tunnel vision and really lock in on what's very important, and that's these players, this organization, and the ultimate goal of winning the NBA championship.
Has anyone in the organization approached you about shot selection, about your shot selection?
No.
It hasn't been a topic?
What do you think about that?
I've had people in that locker room kind of wondered about.
Who?
I can't tell you who.
And it's like that.
I'm just.
I mean, if they worried about my shot selection, they must not seen me play the last few years. Like, that's all I can say about that. If somebody's worried about that, what did you trade me here for? To not shoot? To not find my rhythm? To not be Isaiah Thomas? Because I can't be anybody else. So whoever's saying that, I mean, I don't know what I'm here for if I'm not here to score the ball and make plays after being off 7 months.
You mentioned earlier about coming off the bench. Has that ever been brought up to you?
No, it hasn't.
Sometimes with these questions, we're not.
It's all good. I mean, I'm not a rookie, so I understand that. Like, I know what y'all got to do, but I'm letting you know what's real.
In that meeting, since we're talking about what was real, did anybody say anything to you about your comments about Boston caring more about defense, about the practice habits here? Did anybody bring that up?
Nah, and it's crazy because that Boston question was bigger than what it was. Like, you asked that question.
Yeah.
And you asked what was the difference.
Yeah.
And I told you the difference was we played harder. And it seemed like we trusted each other more in that end. So people made it seem like I keep bringing up Boston. Like, you asked that question,
that's not
and I answered it.
Yeah.
And no, I don't think anybody else thought of it as anything else. If you really read or seen the interview, like, I'm not comparing this to Boston, but I do know practice makes you better and watching film makes you better. And we've done that the last week and a half, 2 weeks, more than we have this season.
One more thing about Monday before you go. I mean, if you thought it was blown out of proportion, what do you think the purpose of the thing was, or what did you think the message of Monday was? Just,
I think the overall message on Monday was addressing a situation that a lot of people questioned. And we're not talking about Kevin Love's illness. We just didn't know where he was at the end of the day. And to be real, like, we didn't know where he was. We didn't know why he wasn't on the bench supporting his teammates or why he wasn't in the locker room after the game. And then he missed the next practice, which it still wasn't addressed. So we wanted to address it when we seen him, or when we came together and everybody was there. And that's what it was. Like, it was no bigger than that. And whoever, like, reported it, it was, and we was bashing Kevin Love. Like, there was nothing to bash him about. We just wanted to know where he was and why he didn't play. And when I told him, or when I told we didn't blame him for no loss. The first thing I said is that loss was on us as players. We ain't blaming him. We just wanted to know where was the support. That was the only question, in which we found out he was very sick and he went home. And the only reason why it got blown out and it would lasted longer than it was is because he missed practice the next day and it still wasn't addressed. So once he came back, it was what it was, and we kept it pushing, and then it was all over ESPN.
Last night said feature-length film. Was it a longer session than usual, or somebody just having fun?
You said having fun?
On the whiteboard last night, it said feature-length film session today. Was it a longer session than usual, or was somebody just goofing around?
I think Kobe was goofing around. He was goofing around, but just had a good film session. You know, things we got to get better at, you know, clean up. And, you know, when we turn the basketball over, you know, it's hard for us to get back in transition and build our defense. But I thought our half-court defense was really solid. You know, they made about 5 or 6 shots we showed at the end of the shot clock. But, you know, overall defensively, we did some good things, but it's just hard to get back after those turnovers or our shot selection. So going into the fourth quarter, they were shooting 41% from the field, and then we turned the ball over, I think 9 times in the fourth quarter, which led to some easy baskets for those guys.
If you had to address LeBron that you need more for him or from him, or he can't move the ball over the way he was last night?
I mean, it's going to happen. I think throughout the course of the season, when we use Braun as much as we use him, it's going to happen. But some of the careless turnovers we can take away, and that's what we showed on film today. We showed turnovers and bad shots, which leads to transition for those guys and easy offense for those guys. So we just continue to just keep getting better, keep showing it, and we just got to do a better job of it.
Derrick Rose, we spoke to him earlier. He said that earlier in his career, stats mattered to him, but at this point, winning is really all he's about. Do you think that mentality is shared by the entire locker room?
Yeah, I think so. I think at times it gets tough, and at times when you got great players, they all think they can do it themselves, and that's just part of being great and who they are. So you got to understand we got to continue to trust, even when things get hard or in the fourth quarter when things get tough. Just continue to trust each other, trust our teammates, and the game will play out itself.
How do you feel about not so much Isaiah's play, but his shot selection at this point? You said that he is who he is, and this is the way he plays, and he's not going to change. And if no one likes it, then we should probably quit him. But just from a coaching standpoint, are you happy with the shots that he's taking? Do you think that they're coming within the rhythm of the offense?
I think, a lot of times it's his timing, because a lot of times he jumps to shoot the ball and then he passes it, and that's going to come from playing. And he had a long layoff, and we need him to be aggressive, looking to score the basketball. But, shot selection is important, so, he got to understand and see where shots are going to be. We need him to be aggressive and score the basketball, but, we got to take good shots.
Have you given any thought to taking him out of the starting lineup?
No. Thank you.
Go ahead.
One more quick thing about the turnovers you said you showed. Was it just from yesterday, or was it 2 games worth?
We've been showing the last few games. Just our turnovers just lead to transition. Teams are just so much faster. We turn the basketball and we can't get back. We can't get floor balance, and it hurts us on the defensive end.
I was just thinking because the Spurs games, there were some uglier ones than last time.
Yeah, but they're not as fast.
We also spoke to Isaiah at length about this. Did you get a look at the play where Kevin handed him the ball?
Yeah, I didn't think it was a big deal.
Did you talk to Kevin about it or them about it?
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. Kevin said, "No, just they both jumped for the ball and just gave it to him because IT was trying to rebound the basketball, get out of my area."